Welcome to Cast of Creators. We're your hosts. I'm Nelson Thal.
And I'm Casey Stewart. We've spent our careers in media and publishing, and now we're setting the stage for creative people who inspire us to share their stories.
Our guest this episode is Cory Lee. Cory is a singer and actress who you'll recognize from Degrassi, Instant Star, and her many movies.
Cory shared some great tips for getting started in the world of acting, career highlights, and her upcoming movies this holiday season. Here we go.
Cory, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. Should we cheers? Start it off right?
Absolutely.
Little rosé on a... Oh my God. OMG. We're spilling
Zap.
already. We're not even
right
drunk.
on the equipment.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It'll make it through. I actually purposely bought all waterproof equipment.
Did you actually?
No.
I mean, that would be good.
I wouldn't be surprised if you did.
You could take a champagne bottle and spray it all over this place if everything was waterproof.
I mean, true. You never know who you'll have, right?
Or like when we have like our 100th episode, we'll be like, woo!
Yeah,
Just
celebrate,
champagne.
Celebrate.
Everything we'll have to put Ziploc bags over everything.
So glad that you're here. We also did not coordinate to wear animal print, but we are, and it's really fabulous.
Well, because we're besties.
Yeah, I know.
It's like we were in tuned. Yeah, we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, and I haven't seen you. You've been in Vancouver quite a bit.
I went to Vancouver for Mother's Day. Honestly, it was all just personal, and WestJet had like the craziest sale I'd ever seen, so I just booked it. It was honestly the cheapest return flight to Vancouver I'd ever found. It was $250 all in.
Oh my
return.
God, that is
Wow.
a steal.
So I was like, let's just go back for Mother's Day.
Oh, that's so nice.
It was lovely.
How long did you stay?
I stayed for 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Okay.
But as an actor, you can't plan anything ever. So I was kind of convinced that either I wasn't going to be able to go or I was going to have to like fly back early. But it worked out. The universe let me stay for the 2 weeks.
Growing up in Vancouver, did you snowboard or ski or get into...
I did not.
Oh.
I'm
None
like
of
an
those?
anomaly.
Oh, my
all of
God.
my girlfriends and like people I grew up with, it's like they all like hiked and like would go to Whistler. But yeah, I just honestly, I started singing and acting really early, and I just wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like legit. Like I think I was 8 when my mom put me in my first musical. Like
Oh,
I was
wow.
like young. I was in my
Yeah.
first professional musical by the time I was 11. Like I literally grew up being like singing and acting and dancing. Like it's all I know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Amazing.
so sweet. I think of getting my daughter into, dance and all that different stuff, and it's just I think it's
so
something
great.
so great and beneficial.
Yeah, I
think
started
so.
when I danced when I was like as a small child at 3.5. But dance was what I did all through like until I was 13, and it really taught me like resilience, discipline, like just so many things that I still use in my daily life from what I learned in dance.
I think too for young girls and boys, being confident in your body, it's just one of the other ways that you really learn how to be aware of your body and how to move it and all that stuff, which is so important.
Yeah, and it helps if you can find something that is really, fun cardio.
It was
Like a fun cardio discovered early is a nice tailwind.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and kids have so much energy, so it's like send them to dance class
and
Yeah.
like
or soccer or whatever they, gravitate to.
and it also helps you deal with your emotions, because I remember being like, I don't want to dance anymore. And my mom would be like, no, you're going. 1, I paid for it. And 2, you enjoy this and you have to work through whatever is like this challenging thing that you need to do. And I found that just even like the way that I walk, I feel like it's like I've learned in dance is like,
She a dancer? She a dancer?
Yeah.
So I hear.
Hold your shoulders back and,
Totally.
It's
a delicate balance too, I think, with parents and kids, like with dance and singing or whatever, to like be the right amount of supportive, but not like overly supportive. Because I actually think that if my mom super pushed me more, I probably would have rebelled at some point, being like, I don't want to do it because you want me to. You know what I mean? But my mom and dad were like the perfect amount of like, if you want to do it, if you love it, then like do it with everything you have. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's great. I think that you want to be exposed to things, but you don't want it promoted by the people who will make you feel like it's lame.
Yes.
So you got to walk that fine line.
Well, and if your parents tell you it's super cool, then it's kind of lame at a certain age, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially in your like early teens, you kind of want to rebel and be your own person.
The best thing for you is dance.
And you're like, I quit.
You're like, oh man,
and I'm done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I went through that.
So you went through high school in Vancouver?
Yes. Yep. I moved to Toronto in 2006 when I got a lead role in a TV series called Instant Star that aired on CTV. And I mean, the story is long from kind of where I started in terms of like professional music theater to then when I moved for the role, was Karma was the character on the TV show Instant Star. But it was honestly all because of my singing, how, my first album had kind of done well. I met Stephen Stone at the Junos the year I was nominated. He asked me if I'd ever done any acting, which I had. He's like, you should audition for this TV show I'm one of the producers on. And literally within like 2 weeks, I was in Stephanie Gorin, who is the casting director of the TV show's, office auditioning. And everything just kind of happened. And honestly, it was all meant to be, because I honestly grew up thinking I was going to be like J-Lo or like Madonna. I never thought acting was going to be like my main thing. I always thought singing was for so many years. But then literally the year I got Instant Star, I feel like it was a huge shift in my life, and like acting became my main priority. So, that's why I moved.
And you moved by yourself?
Yeah.
Without your parents?
Yeah, I moved by myself. I remember looking at apartments. I moved to Jane and Bloor, a little bachelor apartment right beside the subway, because I was like, I think it would be cool if I lived right beside the subway, which it was, actually.
Yeah, and super convenient.
So amazing to be right at the subway. They shipped my car out from Vancouver, which was even, like, I had, like, a whole new lease on life. I was like, I have a car. I've got, like, an apartment on my own. It was like, I literally, a whole new life started for me. It was June, I remember, June 1st.
Wow.
That I moved into that little apartment. Yeah.
And you started filming, like, right away?
Like the next month, July, I started shooting Instant Star.
Had you been to Toronto already, or was that the first time?
So when I started doing music, like, full-time, like, as a recording artist, I had come to Toronto a few times. The first time I ever came to Toronto, like on the music side, I'd been nominated for, it was like an Indie Award, and I'd come for the Indie Awards. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, the shopping is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember the label I was signed to at the time put me literally in Yorkville in like a fancy hotel room. And I remember getting in a cab being like, I want to go shopping on Queen Street. Like, drop me off on like a cool block. And they took me to Queen and Spadina. Which I was like, interesting, but I was like in heaven. I was like, let's
but even
do
like
this.
back then, there was so many, like, there was a lot of like cool stores around there.
Yeah.
And like, if you were at Queen's Spadina, you can go either way, and you could walk to the Eaton Center, or you could like go the other way.
And I bought a lot of random things, and I was like, wow, this is the life. I was like, I've made it, guys. I'm shopping at Queen and Spadina.
And that first album that you did, did you write all that album?
Yeah. So, oh gosh, I don't want to bore you with my millions of stories. I've lived 9 lives. I really have.
Yeah, that's why you're wearing the cat.
So, wow. I'm like, how do I condense this? Yeah. So I wrote all of that first album. Because back then, like 2002, 2003, like, artists were really still like doing demos and sending them to major labels. Like, that's how like people were getting signed. Indies were more of a new thing at that time. Labels were still spending money.
Yeah, they still had money to spend.
It was like right on the cusp, because Napster had already come out, so it was already the decline.
Yeah.
But like it was still kind of in that old school mentality. So I had done a demo. I'd written like 3 or 4 songs, and I'd sent it around to all the majors. And like Canada doesn't have like the majors like the States did. Back then it was really like Universal or Sony.
Yeah.
Like those were like the two main players. So I remember an A&R had called me from Universal here. It was David Click Cox, and he's still, doing his thing now. I love him, but he was the urban A&R.
I'm pretty sure I know him. Yeah,
he was the urban A&R at Universal back in like 04, 03, and I remember thinking it was such a big deal. I was like, oh my God, an A&R is calling me, but literally he just called to be like, I want to keep in touch with you. Like, I like what you're doing, but like, we just want to, watch what's going on. But like, there is a little interest, and I was like, and
wow.
like no one bit, like no one wanted to sign me. I even remember because I was sending packages to like American majors too, and I literally remember this one label, I won't say who it was, said, "We'll never sign an Asian female to sing pop R&B." It's never been done before because it hadn't really back then. Like it literally, I was breaking barriers where in my brain, I was like, I'm just fucking me. Like, like, and like coming from Vancouver, like there was a lot of half Asians, you know what I mean? Even with acting, when I first started acting, when I was like 11, my acting agent, again, a very big acting agent, won't say his name, was like, you'll never go for leads because you're not Caucasian.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it's so crazy how things have changed so much, yet we're still in the same place at the same time. Like, we have evolved. Oh, he changed my name. Cory Lee's not my real name. Most people know this.
Yeah.
Because my real last name's German. He was like, you're not German in casting. You'll never go for a German role.
Yeah.
Right.
Only going to go for Asian roles. So what's your mother's maiden name? I was like, Lee, because I was...
My grandfather went through the same thing going to university. Yeah.
It's just like, it just was what it was. Like, I don't even feel any type of way about it. Like, it's just, casting did, want the name to reflect what the person looked like. I get it. You know what I mean? That's just what the standard was at the time. I mean, that agent would have been fired if he had said that to me now.
Oh, yeah. That won't fly now.
I mean, he's retired. He's retired, actually.
Yeah.
So
Cancelable.
It's, well, then that's the thing. So I don't even remember what your question was. I feel like I'm just rambling. Oh, yeah.
No. You wrote that.
I had done a demo.
And you're sending out a CD.
I'm sending out a
and
CD.
Like a handwritten note.
Yeah, with a cover letter.
Wow.
Saying, hi, my name's Cory Lee. I'm from Vancouver, blah, 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 blah. And Universal was kind of interested. They said they were going to, like, watch me. And basically nothing happened. Like, for, 2 years, I was, writing a bunch of different songs and, sending out packages. We would call them packages.
Where are you recording them? And do you play guitar? You're recording it with a guitar?
No.
A band?
No. So, at the time, back then in Vancouver, again, I've lived so many lives. So I was in a girl group actually for 5 years before I embarked on Cory Lee.
I didn't even know this about you.
Artist. Yeah, we were signed to a Vancouver label.
What?
We had a single come out called "Can You Satisfy?" Anyway, so one great thing about me being in this
racy for
girl group,
that age.
Yeah,
we were called Risque. We were called Risque. That was our name. RIS-K.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow, well, it sounds like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't really. When I think back, we weren't. No, we all were young. We all were Asian.
Yeah.
So that was our shtick, I guess. Anyway, so the great thing about being in the girl group is, I learned a lot. I performed all over the Lower Mainland. We even did some shows in other Canadian cities. But I met kind of the top of the top in terms of pop R&B producers at the time in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And there really was only 2 or 3 heavy hitters.
Right.
Hip Joint was the biggest one at the time. And so when the girl group kind of fell through, and here's another story. So Gene Simmons wanted to sign us and give us the craziest American deal, horrible American deal, though. We had gotten it looked at by an entertainment lawyer, and he literally was like, this deal is fucking crazy.
Is this deal from Gene Simmons?
Yeah, this deal's from Gene
No, I know.
Simmons.
That's what the entertainment lawyer says to you. Is
This
from Gene
and
Simmons?
it
looks
like
it.
It looks like it's from
We
Gene
had a
Simmons.
meeting with Gene Simmons, and we got to go see a Kiss show. Again, I've lived 9 lives. So anyway, at the end of the day, the Gene Simmons deal fell through because one of the girls...
Did you get to go backstage at the Kiss show?
No, I did not. But then the next morning, we went to his hotel, and we had a meeting.
All the girls and him?
Yeah.
What was that like?
He was definitely wearing a horrible wig.
Yeah.
He showed me $1 million bill and told me it could be mine. It was like burned into my brain. He's like, if you sign with me, I will make you $1 million. He literally took it out of his wallet, and he's like, there's only a few of these in
he's got a shtick.
Yeah, he's got a shtick, I'm sure. I mean, I was enamored with him just because I was like, oh, American Deal. And like at the time I was like in high school. Like I was like,
yeah, he's done that trick a few times.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I actually have my own Gene Simmons story.
Tell us.
Which is funny.
Share.
Was he wearing a horrible wig?
So a couple of years ago, Talia and I were in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I ended up getting set up in a meeting with him.
What? Okay?
And we went to his house.
Oh.
And so I'm just making having a nice conversation, okay? And I asked him a question, okay? A question about something that had been answered in a book he had written, okay? And his response to the question was, well, there are books for that. Okay?
Like he didn't even want to answer you. He was like,
he's
read
like,
my book,
well, there's books for that.
What? Oh my God.
I was like, Gene, that's quite the answer to a question. You mean like I got to make sure every question I'm going to ask you, I got to make sure the answers aren't in one of your books, But it was at least it was a fun banter. But so that $1 million bill shtick, I can totally see that is the same style of a prepared sort of a higher than shtick that he would give out.
At the end,
It was funny though, and he was very welcoming, and
he was very nice.
Time. But it was just like hilarious.
What?
He also pulled out a credit card with his face on it, and it was like a Kiss credit card.
Yeah, Kiss credit card.
And for
how do I get one of those?
I don't remember why.
Sure you can buy one.
I don't know why he showed it to me, but again, it was like a
it was,
these are the kind of amazing things we are doing.
Yeah.
If you want to sign with us, but then the entertainment lawyer was like he was literally taking like crazy percentages of like literally all of the revenue streams, and then one of the girls wanted to leave essentially, and the deal fell through. But to answer your question, so then everyone I met when I was in the girl group, like every music producer in Vancouver at the time ended up working with me on my first album.
Amazing.
So again,
Right.
like everything happens for a reason. Like I definitely was meant to be in the girl group to learn so much about myself and like what kind of artist I wanted to be. And then, I worked with literally everyone we had worked with, the girl group, on my first album. So again, going back to the first album, I'm trying to like get the story out.
No, this is great.
All the labels didn't want to sign me. A lot of them were scared. They didn't know exactly how to market this like Asian-y pop R&B young girl from Vancouver. So after about 2 years and getting essentially all no's, I paid with my own money a radio promoter to put out one of the songs to the radio. And it was a gamble. It's funny, I think about it. I was like,
wow.
So I paid this big radio promoter.
Because you can't get really distribution. That's the thing then.
Well, you could. It just wasn't how things were done back in 2004.
Well, you'd have to literally print a ton of CDs and go huck them and sell them.
Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was. Right. Yeah. So the song ended up taking off on the radio.
Wow.
It was called The Naughty Song. It would end up being my first single from that first album. And a bunch of labels that I was talking with ended up coming back around because I had created something for myself. Mm-hmm. And that's really how the first album went. It would go on to have a couple singles that did well on the radio, and it really just like got me out of Vancouver, because definitely at that time there just wasn't a lot of like pop R&B artists coming from Vancouver. There was very few and far between. Everything was happening in Toronto. It really, really was. I mean, now it's so funny because like the music industry is just so much different, and there's like a lot of cool shit coming out of Van, even urban stuff, and definitely some Asians. Yeah. So it's like things have definitely evolved there. So, and literally I got nominated for that Juno from that first album for the song that I paid to go to the radio, The Naughty Song.
Wow.
Good for you.
And
absolutely.
Literally at the Junos, I met Stephen Stone, who would be very instrumental in my acting career, because not only did he produce Instant Star, he also produced Degrassi, which I was on for numerous seasons. So literally everything, again, happens for a reason. I mean, the Universal, it was a joint venture. My next deal was like a joint venture Universal with another indie, which was like one of the worst label experiences of my life. I won't get into that, but not Universal, the other label. I literally had to.
Did they lock you in for multiple albums?
Oh, yeah, that was the deal. And right around that time, these 360 deals started becoming popular because albums weren't selling as much.
because they're losing money on the album side, so they need to make it.
So
on
they
the
were,
tour.
they were like, well, take 15% of your touring and your publishing and your merch and the blah, 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 blah. So I was stuck to, I call her the crazy lady. I won't say her name. I mean, anyone in the music industry around that time that knew me knows exactly who I'm talking about. But I had to fight legally to get away. And like, it cost me $100,000 and my sanity.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Yeah. So that was a whole other life. But honestly, it was.
This is you as a solo artist,
Yes.
though, that you're talking about here?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first album that you do in Vancouver was still under the Risque group?
So we did do an album.
Okay.
Risque. And we ended up putting out a single through John Dexter. Again, he was a major player in Vancouver at the time. And then when the Gene Simmons deal kind of happened, everything fell apart. So we never actually.
So that
then
fell
you
apart,
had the
and
album.
then you went to solo, and then you had the album.
Yeah, and then I went into like, let's try and get myself a solo deal. Let's try and do it the way that it was. So then I was sending out the packages. I was sending out the demos. And then at that point, 3 years later, I'd had literally like 30 songs. So when the Naughty song started doing well and like labels kept coming back around, I just chose like the strongest kind of like, I think it was like 12 or 13 songs that I had at the time. And that was the first album.
Okay.
Cool.
That's literally what the first album was. So when I did the second album.
Is it on Apple Music?
So I feel like it actually was pulled because, and I actually think my second album was pulled off of like Spotify and Apple not long ago because essentially the first album ended up being, again, a joint venture between this indie and Fontana.
Oh, they pulled it.
So, well, because the deal was only for, they were going to like promote it and distribute it for like, I feel like it was like 5 or 10 years or whatever, and then it was done, right? So they don't have the rights.
Right.
Same with like my second then deal was this joint venture between an indie and Universal, and it's just been so long that like they just don't have the rights to distribute it anymore.
Oh, I'm seeing a bunch of your songs on Apple
Who
Music.
retains the rights then in that
So,
situation?
I mean, because I retained all of my publishing, that was like a big thing for me. So I still own like all my publishing from all of those older songs. But
Oh,
since
that's good.
technically, like if you want to get into the nitty gritty, like since like Universal and this other indie paid for my second album, they own the masters, right? My first album's a whole different situation because I had paid for everything myself. I was literally paying to like make my demo the best it could be, and then I was like, fuck it, let's like go a different route and let's put out the Naughty song. And so I actually own or co-own all those masters, plus I retained my publishing because it was just such a different, unique like situation. Like I wasn't signed to a label when I did those songs. So again, I could talk about it forever.
Yeah, no, it's all interesting because the nuances of it and the bad beats through it really offers anybody a tremendous lesson to try and figure out how to get it right because it's not easy. It's messy business.
It's music is just very complicated.
Yeah.
And I say to anyone, like, because people ask me all the time, like, how do I get into music or how do I get into acting? And it's like, if there's a contract in front of you, like on the music side, like 100 million trillion % get an entertainment lawyer to look at.
Yeah.
Don't hire your cousin who does like commercial real estate law. I mean, yeah, that's great and all, but like,
Yeah, you need someone who knows
to be
this.
protected, and you need to know like what you're giving up, because essentially labels are just banks. They're just paying to get shit done and then retaining your masters or whatever. Like, if you can, like, go get a loan from, your grandma. If you can, you know what I mean? Or now it's so different because there's, like, you can have a studio in your basement. You can literally do all this stuff. And that's why the music industry is, like, the wild, wild west right now, like, amazingly talented 16-year-olds from Kentucky or wherever, like some like random small town in the States will have a cool small little setup and like it's good enough to like put stuff out.
Or even like Lil Nas X becoming popular on TikTok and then now look.
Yeah.
You know, like people putting out music
even if
on
you look
social
at Billie
media.
Eilish's early stuff.
Well, that's the thing. They
is
did
all
it in
pretty
her
well
house.
bedroom.
Yeah, her
this
and Phineas.
Is bedroom stuff.
I honestly feel like in that situation, Phineas was the mastermind because she
Yeah.
was so young.
Oh, yeah.
for
he's,
sure.
he's a great producer.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like he was like, okay, she can sing. She's got a cool look. She wants to do this. Like,
Let's do it.
Like, let me help you. Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, like that first album is also mixed and mastered by literally one of the like heavy weights. So you
Right.
can't again compare. If it's like, oh, I did it in my house. It's like, yeah, you did, but then you literally
Yeah, then you
have-
got to jump.
You literally like then like the next step is like the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I know I could talk about it forever, but yeah, like in the music side, it's like so many great artists and producers are just can have nothing. Literally just get you GarageBand on your phone.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You can literally do something cool.
In a way, though, it does bring it back full circle to who's got really the most talent in some respects.
Definitely. And it is a great divide. Like you do see, you know, major label artists that are getting the push. So they are, you know, getting spun on the radio 30 times a day. And you're like, oh my God, like, do I need to hear this, you know, Jack Harlow glamorous song one more time? Like I literally heard it 10 times yesterday driving. And I was like, okay, so I see he's the breadwinner.
flavor of
The favorite, favorite.
He's
right.
getting the push currently at this exact moment. And, you know, it does help when you're in that big machine, when they are spending money on your videos. Like, it does help. But, you know, so many artists now are just, as we're saying, like coming from nothing and putting something out and going viral, you know, getting noticed on TikTok or YouTube. Like, there's literally like 16-year-old girls on YouTube with like millions of views just singing covers.
Right.
Right.
With their guitar. Like, literally, like, it's like, I tell anyone, just start doing shit.
Yeah.
Start making
Yeah,
a
just
following. Just start.
Yeah.
Just
Almost the worst thing
things.
that you can do is just talk about it.
Yeah.
And not do anything.
I call those wantrepreneurs.
Yes.
They
Totally.
I want to do this and I want to do that and I've got such a great idea. Okay, fucking put your money what your mouth is.
Yeah.
Talk about what you've done or what you're doing, not like what you're
Because we
high
all
in
have
the
great
sky.
ideas. All of us
Yeah,
do.
look, like I mean, we talked about this podcast for about 2 minutes,
And then
I started buying stuff. You know,
Yeah, and then that we had the idea to do this. It was in the spring, and we're doing it, and I'm really excited. One thing I was going to ask you about is I saw something that you posted the other day that was JoJo, and she's doing this, and she's singing a song, and she's kind of like
Make your shit go viral and then maybe we'll support it. I was like, yes. Because major labels, they don't want to spend the money unless you have some shit happening.
yeah.
So, like, that week, I feel like it was like Halsey or something had basically talked about the label was like, yeah, go viral and then we'll like put some more money into the single. Because that's how it is, because labels don't
risks it for them too.
Well, they just
Big
don't
time.
have the money. So they're like, do your own promotion, like get your own shit popping, and then like maybe we'll like promote it. Like, and then JoJo, because I love JoJo, she's like one of my favorite artists. I fuck with JoJo heavy. She put out that TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, she even said like, yeah, put out a sex tape and then, maybe that'll do the trick. But it's true. That's the crazy thing. When we think of even like the biggest reality show of our time, the
absolutely.
Kardashians, like we all know how that started.
Yeah.
And yes, they had money and yes, they had influence to begin with. And that obviously helps. But literally Kim Kardashian really got catapulted out there because she put out a sex tape.
Yeah.
Like fame
It's
doesn't
sex
mean
tape and willing to really bear every single skeleton in your family's closet on a TV show.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not shy away from sharing anything. if combine those two. Now they're fortunate. They have a very uniquely complicated family, which is
True.
But that makes it more interesting
hyper
to watch.
interesting. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it. I like it.
I watch it. I got Disney Plus just so I could watch
Right. Well,
it.
that's why
and
they
a new
pay
app
them so
comes
much
out
money.
today.
I watched
Yeah.
it this morning. I watched it this morning.
Last night at midnight.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I watched it this
You
morning.
got me beat. No spoilers,
No.
but that is.
But they are interesting because they are full of drama. And to be honest, who knows what's real and what's not? And does it really matter?
It
We
doesn't
enjoy
matter.
watching
But
it.
my hunch is a lot of it is real because in the sense that
I mean, it has to spur from something real. Like, obviously, she was married to Kanye West. Obviously, they had kids. Like, there's certain points that you can't fake. But when you watch each episode, you're kind of like...
Yeah, it's tapped
It's
in
kinda
directions
like-
that make it more appealing and
Exactly.
interesting.
It's like
Yeah.
dramatized real. Like it's this much is real maybe, but they kind of like light it on fire, make it a little more exciting.
Yeah. They just put gasoline on the problems that are already going down.
So what was Instant Star all about?
So Instant Star, which is why it was actually ahead of its time.
I bet.
It was because
Sounds
it
like
was
it's
a
like
musical.
ahead of American Idol in some respects.
It was. So basically, Stephen Stone, not only was he a TV producer, he is and was a entertainment lawyer. And he was the entertainment lawyer not only for the Junos, but for Canadian Idol. So
Okay.
he thought of this scripted television show. He's like, why don't we make a show that essentially follows the contestants after they win or don't win or whatever. So Instant Star was actually based on Canadian Idol, but it
Okay.
was a scripted show.
Okay.
And Alex Johnson, who was the lead in the first season, wins Instant Star. So then every season after, someone new wins. So my character came in and won the third season.
Okay, so this is a scripted show.
Scripted show.
Okay. About basically
Teenagers like competing in a reality show,
Right.
and then following like their careers afterwards. So, and then like obviously it kept following the people that had won. So it wasn't just, I mean, Alice Johnson was definitely the lead and it like followed her arc the most. And like my character was like a diva. Like she was willing to do anything to get famous, which was amazingly fun to play.
So when you get given the role of that character, does it come with a synopsis on that character? Like, does it come with, okay, this girl's a diva, blah, blah, blah. Like, what comes to you as the person receiving the package of, or do they just award, like, walk me through that?
With Instant Star was very unique, I would say, in terms of like a lead role because they were looking for someone that could actually sing and act at the same time.
Right.
So I did audition. I auditioned for Stephanie Gorin, but they were just about to start ramping up writing the third season. So once they found me, they wrote the role for me.
Oh, amazing.
Which I guess I don't know if I've ever really talked about, but usually, like as an actor, when you are auditioning for a role, they send what they call the breakdown of the character. So it'll be like, Kat is a doctor who, has a hard time with her relationship with, Dr. John because they used to date. Like, literally, there'll be like a little breakdown of like what the character is. So that really does help you in terms of when you're preparing the role. Sometimes they give you a really crappy breakdown. It'll just be like, she is a doctor at the clinic. And you're like,
tell me more about her.
It's like, okay, so, but like, is she nice? Is she mean? Like, give me something. Some sort of personality trait. Like, that's what I like to go on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, usually, yes. To answer your question, you get a breakdown of the character. But I did not for the role of Karma on Instant Star.
Okay, so then are you singing the songs in studio and then overdubbing them live with just,
Yes.
your voice?
So what was so great about Instant Star, because Stephen Stone was so connected in the music industry, he had come from Canadian Idol, and Canadian Idol, what they would do with like the winners or the final three, they would do songwriting camps, and they would bring together these like big songwriters who would write a bunch of songs, and then like the best ones for like the top few people would get chosen. So that's what he did with Instant Star. He would do at the beginning of every season these songwriter camps with huge, heavy hitter songwriters that literally are still killing it today. Like Rob Wells was one of the big songwriters on Instant Star, and he's still like slaying it to this day. And so when I got the role for Karma on Instant Star, I was actually invited to the songwriting session week, I remember, and a bunch of the songs that were written that week ended up being Karma's songs. I Will Be the Flame was like one of Karma's like main singles, and it was written that week, and I even was there to sing the demo.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And what studio did you then record it in Toronto?
Oh gosh, we did a bunch, but that specific song, we ended up recording at this producer/mixer. His name is Christopher Anderson, who I actually have used for my own music because
Anderson.
He's done a lot. Again, he's just like,
I think that's one of Talia's closest friends, Amy Dodds' brother.
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it is.
So he's got like a legit amazing home studio, and I ended up recording a bunch of songs for Instant Star at that studio, and that's how I met him. And actually when I was doing some like Cory Lee music after Instant Star, I used him as well to record and mix. I even just used him like recently because in one of the movies that I'm in that's coming out at Christmas, I was asked to write a Christmas song. And just because I know Christopher Anderson is like, you know, one of the leaders of his game, and he does a lot of music for TV and film, I got him. I went there, recorded it, and I got him to mix it and master it for me.
Awesome.
So, like, literally still to this day, connections that I made, like, doing Instant Star, like, I still use now. And Steven Stone was my entertainment lawyer for many years because I love him and I trust him, and I know he's not going to dink me around.
And how many seasons were you on that?
So I was on for 2 seasons. Instant Star went for 4 seasons.
So the first season was you like competing?
I wasn't in the first season.
No, the first season that you were on.
Yes.
Was like a competing season.
So I literally win the competition
At the end of the...
like the first episode.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Of the 3rd season. And I ended up winning it, singing one of like Alex Johnson's character's big songs too, which we ended up having kind of like a feud most of that season.
So they basically filmed that like a music video. Like in terms of the song part, it's filmed like a music video.
Exactly. You're exactly like a music video.
Okay.
You're essentially just singing over top the recording.
Your recorded
because
track.
we'd already recorded all the music beforehand.
So you're basically singing a duet with yourself.
Essentially,
basically.
yeah. And I mean, even when I would perform live a lot, because when you're a solo artist, like when you record the song, there's literally like 10 of you, obviously. So you literally just end up singing over your background vocals.
Right.
So it's essentially the same karaoke vibes.
Your own karaoke.
Well, you sing over your own harmonies.
Yeah, you sing exactly. You sing over your own backup vocals. And that's what I would do.
So you did those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
What was the second season like? So the first season's you as the winner, and then what's the next season like?
So actually, they focused more on me my last season, which was season 4, because I ended up marrying Alex Johnson's ex-boyfriend.
Oh my God.
In the show, and then
she
it
is
like
a diva.
And then it like followed us because again, my character wasn't motivated by anything but fame and money. So she ends up selling a reality show to like an MTV type network, again, all fake, fictitious, about her marriage with Speederman, which was the character. So it actually followed us through this like fake reality show.
I need to watch this.
This is all filmed in Toronto?
Yeah, it shot at Epitome, which was the production company. They had a full-on studio like Eglinton and Victoria Park. It's also where Degrassi was shot.
I've been there.
They sold the building a few years ago, and I literally went and like shed tears outside of it.
Oh, I remember watching you go there.
Yeah, just because I'd spent so many years in the building, and I was like, the fact that it's like not a film studio anymore, I was like, that's so sad. I shot a music video there too, actually.
Cool.
One of my music videos, Fashion Show.
Oh, I love that one.
Which is a hot tip. I don't know if I've really talked about that either, but you can tell it's in the Degrassi backlot. I was on Degrassi at the time, and they essentially rented it to me for peanuts. So the video looks magical because the production value is so high, but literally Steven Stone and Linda let me rent the studio for like the lowest fee ever.
Yeah. Great.
I know. Yeah.
So Instant Star wraps.
Yes.
And do you have a moment between that and your next acting project to think about singing, or what happens next?
When Instant Star ended, oh gosh, so many things to say. Was right when I was in the middle of my like legal battle to try and get away from my crazy lady music manager.
Oh,
so that was
caught
actually
with a manager. You're caught with a manager that
Yeah.
has you. So how does that? How you caught with her? What's the contract catching
gosh.
you with that?
Oh,
I don't really want to like.
Not the specifics, but like, how does the manager? What are you trying to get released from? A number of albums?
Yeah,
Is
I don't. They wanted to option me for another album with her at the helm, and I was like, I'm literally
okay.
going
So your
to
contract
lose my
with them,
marbles.
they had an option.
Yeah,
and they
they were
exercised
They
it.
wanted to exercise it.
okay.
They had told me, and so then I hired.
Okay, so you're caught with.
I'm
them.
caught in the crossfires,
Right.
and I knew I couldn't continue, or I would literally lose my marbles.
right.
So that was actually the year after Instant Star ended was like a low year, a low Cory Lee year. Because in my brain too, I thought like, oh, I'm coming off a lead, off a series. Like I'm going to work all the time. Like I've like established myself as a lead on a series, but like, nope. The acting world is just so crazy. Like you can be crazy busy for years and then literally have like,
Crickets.
like a year of like barely anything.
Right.
I mean, did I work? Yes. Like I had some small roles on a few things, but like nothing at all. Like I remember I had to go get a part-time job and like Instant Star was literally still airing and like people would recognize me every day, all day. Oh my God, don't you play Karma on Instant Star? And I'd be like, yeah, I do. And because I'd spent everything
I'm researching a role now.
I'd spent everything I'd saved to get away, basically, in this legal battle to spend on the entertainment lawyer. So that year was a really low year for Cory Lee. And then, essentially, the next big thing I ended up doing was Degrassi, which was the same producers. And that ended up kind of coming around because that year, Degrassi went to Much Music.
Okay.
Yes,
that was the
that's
year.
when I worked there, and I worked with Abby to like talk about the show.
And Much Music mandated to Degrassi that they wanted one or two like notable music-related actors. Mm-hmm. And so I remember getting a call from my agent. Shout out Barb Godfrey, Parent Management. She's literally been my agent since 2007. She calls me and she's like, so I just got an interesting call from Epitome.
Barb, love you.
And I was like, okay, yeah. I had no idea. And they were like, so they have you in mind for a teacher role on Degrassi. And I was like, literally my heart like went to the floor being like, I literally was like, yes. Just yes. Because I knew everyone in the building. Same crew as Instant Star, same producers. It would be like coming home. Mm-hmm. It was like so much more than just the role. Mm-hmm. So she was like, so they're sending your stuff to network and we're like going to wait and like we probably won't know for like a week or two. And I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
I was
wow.
like, okay. And then I remember specifically, it was Valentine's Day. Ish had taken me, my husband, his name Ish, I mean, you know Ish very well, had taken me to Niagara Falls.
Nice.
Because he asked me what I wanted for Valentine's Day. And I was like, let's go like to a winery. I love wine. We love wine. And I wanted a Coach purse.
Yep.
Yeah. Here, you can top me up too. So I wanted him to buy me a Coach purse.
Thank you, Casey.
At the Niagara Falls outlet.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fun.
This was 2010.
There it is.
Well, not this one. I still have it though. And Barb called me, and I remember we had just come out of the Coach outlet, and Ish had just bought me a purse. We had already gone and gotten like a bunch of wine at Jackson Triggs because I love Jackson Triggs is one of my favorite wineries in Niagara. And she's like, "So they've offered you the role," and I literally bawled like a baby.
Oh, I bet. How much longer was this after the Instant Star?
It was
wrap?
over.
Thank you, Casey.
So Instant Star ended, like I think I shot, it was 06, 07, and then this would have been 2010. So this was like a couple years later. And like I felt like those years in between were really, I really grinded it out. Like that's when I feel like I actually really learned the acting grind the most. Like I was always an actor. I started acting really young, but like to really be on the acting grind. Plus I'd really been disheartened by the music industry. So I was like, fuck music. I'm going to throw myself into acting full time, which I did. And, you know, I felt like those were the years I paid my dues, you know. So it had been a couple years, and then they offered me Degrassi, and again they wrote the character for me because they wanted someone like that had like a music background to be on the show because it was now going to be on Much Music. It had come from CTV, and it was also the year they moved to digital, so the order doubled.
Oh, right. So more episodes.
Yeah. So. It was a blast. It was amazing. I loved my time on Degrassi. And yeah, to get that phone call from your agent, like, so they've offered you the role, they're offering you 4-season option. Like those are your like dream calls.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. And I'm a big manifester.
Yes, I know.
And one of the best ways to manifest is to like relive a day where like it was just like a perfect day, all the right things were in place, and you really like relive those emotions, because when you like relive the emotions, you like invite more of the same emotions. So that actually the beautiful moment where Barb called me to tell me I got the role is one of my manifesting days, to going back and reliving that moment, because not only was I in Niagara about to drink wine, about to celebrate Valentine's Day with my husband. I mean, we weren't married at the time.
New purse.
New purse. Exactly. And then literally like me literally crying, bawling my eyes out at the Niagara outlets in front of the Coach store. Like, it's just magical. It's like everything
just
just
really
aligned.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was a great moment. And yeah, it's in my top manifesting days to go back and relive.
And you're playing a teacher?
I was a teacher, yeah. I was like a sassy teacher.
Yeah.
I ended up having like an affair with one of the kids.
Oh, wow.
You've had quite a few sassy career moments as we're talking about this.
Yeah. No.
You know, risque and this and, you know.
Well, it's interesting too because, you know, there are stereotypes with ethnicities like in acting. And like when you're Asian, either you're really smart or you're really sexy. It's like, kind of like the two main stereotypes, like in terms of roles, especially like back. You know.
I could think of some other ones that would be worse.
Well, yeah, I mean,
smarter, sexy, not.
But I mean, like, I've played quite a few hookers.
Yeah, I know.
Cory Lee has been a few hookers. Just saying. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like as an actor, like if it's a substantial role and like it challenges me, like I'm into it. So I wasn't mad at the hookers. I mean, it got a lot when I felt like I was going for a lot at a certain point, but I feel like I've kind of aged myself out of the hookers.
And then what's that deal like? Then you get the paperwork and you run that, and it's a bit different than the music because you're happy if they take that option. They have you on the next season and the next season and the next season versus getting caught in a multi-album deal where you don't have the confidence that the first album is going to be exactly the experience you want. Whereas on that show, they've got enough history there where you know the group.
Yeah.
That you're happy, you're comfortable.
Oh, yeah. It was everything I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted
you're
to be
comfortably locked into that deal.
Yeah, well, because I knew they had my best interest at heart. Where, like, to go back to the option on the music situation that I was talking about, I knew it was going to be horrible. I knew it was not going to be anything I wanted, and that the lady was going to want me to work with producers I didn't want to work with and really have like a lot of control over me, which is not what I wanted. Well, from her specifically. So it was like such night and day options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you end up doing the first season that you were on with Degrassi.
Yeah, I did all four seasons.
You did all 4 seasons.
Yeah. They kept bringing me back, baby.
Amazing. So the first season that you were on, do you get every episode for the season, or do you get do they give you a couple episodes? How
So
does
what
that
happens
work?
usually with scripted episodic television is they write a few episodes at a time. So then you'll end up doing a table read, and the way Degrassi worked is we block shot numerous episodes at one time. So we would be
you'll batch them.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of television works like that just because it's quicker, it's easier, and especially with Degrassi, they know they're going to be in the gym every episode. So on this date, they're going to shoot all the gym scenes from episode 4, 5, and 6 or whatever.
So will you go there for a couple of days and get done all of your scenes for 3 episodes?
Exactly. So
that's nice.
That was actually.
So you're on for little pockets, and then you have a bit of time off.
So when I was on Degrassi, I was actually I felt like it was my time to come back on the music side. So I actually was the perfect combination of essentially working what I would call part-time on a series, because they would shoot all my stuff boom, 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 and then I wouldn't be in for 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. Oh, that much time you'd have.
Yeah, because
that's really nice.
Because my character taught 2 specific classrooms. So usually I would.
You're tied to a set.
I'm tied,
to
the
set. It's
the
not
school.
Like you pop up. I
did. My character definitely did.
Not routinely, though.
But not,
you're not popping up at the mall.
No, I'm not popping up at the mall.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, that's quite nice.
So, it was
it's when they're on set at that school, in that room / gym or whatever, it's those are your call days.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're packed into that.
I knew if they were going to shoot in the school set, there was a chance I could be there because, I was also in the hallway because, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a great groove. So you're in basically a full-time, from an actor's perspective, it's you got a full-time job, but it's really not full-time.
No, it wasn't full time for me. But that was also how Degrassi was. They never really focused on one person for too long, which I think was one of their secrets to success, because
they were able to anybody.
Yeah, they were able to evolve with lots of different characters. Yes. You know what I mean? They never focused on one person a lead. How Instant Star was solely focused around Alex Johnson, Degrassi was never like that. Every season they'd have maybe 10 kids that they'd focus on the most.
Right. But they weren't at the mercy of any cast member.
No, they
Anybody
never
could
were.
have gotten offed.
And they always had them graduate. I don't know if you if you're a Degrassi fan, you know there was different incarnations of Degrassi the Next Generation, because every say 4 or 5 years they would have those kids actually graduate and be gone and introduce new kids.
Yeah.
So just as everyone always is oh, Drake, because obviously Drake was on the Degrassi Next Generation. He was on the very beginning. His character had graduated before my character came onto the scene. So Miss O, which was my character, never taught
him.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
So, I never, but ironically, when Instant Star was shooting, because Instant Star and Degrassi shared the same studios, the same production company, same producers, I definitely met Drake numerous times because Degrassi would be shooting when he was on it, and at the same time that Instant Star was.
Oh.
He didn't start that show in a wheelchair, or did he?
I'm pretty sure he got shot and then ended up in the wheelchair.
Shooting.
I'm pretty sure. Degrassi fans will come for me, I'm sure, right now.
Come.
They're all how do you not know? But
my sister and I were an extra on Degrassi, The Next Generation,
Yeah,
for one day.
I heard about you.
What year?
It probably was 2000 and...
Would I have been there?
7?
Okay, yeah, no. That would have been Instant Star,
8?
actually. Instant Star was 2007.
Oh.
What trouble did you get up to on
I
that
was
set?
a lesbian, and I held hands with a girl and walked across the bar.
Love that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I had really short hair at the time.
We should find this.
We should find
Air
it.
this clip right now.
Somebody find
Yeah,
it.
you should find
Play the
that.
tape.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Nelson and I were actually talking about how I met Ish, because that takes me back
You
to
met Ish first.
That takes me back to my acting career.
You met Ish first.
Which was a
before me.
background.
Your summer of acting.
Yeah. Well, that's all I did.
Was it American Pie?
Yes. Ish and I were both part of the the background actors on American Pie
Continuity.
5.
So you did like we did like 10, 15 days.
Yeah, like it was like
tons.
over a summer. It went for like July and August, and we had like we'd get bussed up to Richmond Hill to this like mansion. We'd hang out. We all hung out in background holding, and we'd be like, we'd sit there for 2 hours, then we'd go to set for 15 minutes, and then we'd come back, and then we'd go to set for 15 minutes, and then they'd have like, it was a really, really fun summer.
Which American Pie was it?
Oh, it was American Pie Beta House. So I think 5.
Well, and what's even crazier is, so when I first started acting in Vancouver, my agent at the time was like, oh, you should do some background to like see if you really like being on set. So like literally for like a couple years, I did like full-time background in Vancouver when I was like working on like my music stuff. So when Ish and I met in 2006, actually our 16-year anniversary is this month.
Wow.
I know.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Do you have plans for it?
He's actually on set that day. He's shooting a movie right now, so it's all good though. I mean, we're like a happy old married couple, so we'll go for a fancy dinner like a few days later.
Yeah, some other
But yeah, Ish had just come back from New York when we met, and I had just moved here for Instant Star. And he's like, oh, I need to make some money. And I was like, oh, you must be union, because we obviously had talked. He's like, yeah, I'm full union. I was like, go do background. So that was his like one of his first background gigs, because I told him to go do background.
Yes, and and I didn't know much about him, but we all hung out because there was like he was union like ACTRA, and like my sister and I weren't, but we were like, we kind of got put in with the things that the ACTRA kids got put in, because we were like,
well, you probably were featured.
Yeah, we were featured.
Continuity or whatever.
Featured. So we were like the babes that hung out with like the beta house people. Wow. So we
wonder why you two were featured.
Yeah. But it was like, we had so much fun, and there's like a bunch of people that were on that set that summer that we still know, and like Patricia Jaggernoth, who's does the CP24. She was on there too, and like there's another guy, Femi Lawson, and like he was on there, and he's like doing amazing now. And
Megan Heffern, who's a fellow actor who I literally just saw her in Vancouver when I was there.
Yeah, she was on there.
Vasanth was on that.
Yes,
who oddly I've worked with since as well. Like it's one.
It was just this like and like Harv.
Yeah,
Harv is like directed a bunch of Drake music videos. Honestly, he's done so many amazing things. He was also a producer on that movie, so it was like this magical moment. Like a lot of fun in background.
Frat or whatever.
Yeah, and it was. And Eugene Levy was on set for one day.
That's what's so crazy about background. It's all creatives, right? Like even when I think back of like when I did my full-time background, so many people have gone on to do like massive things. A lot of them have turned into like full-time actors, producers, music people. Like it's, creatives are creatives. So
yeah, that was a really fun time.
Yeah, Ish had a really good time too.
And you have a couple movies coming out.
Oh, yes.
That I know.
Yes. Wow. I feel like we've gone through so many random periods in my life. Yes. So in COVID, I have been blessed. I have worked a lot. Honestly, like
cheers.
Cheers. Again, this time I won't spill. Like right now I've got 6 MOWs. So
MOW
is a movie of the week. So it's a movie shot for a television channel, so like a Lifetime or a Hallmark.
I love watching Hallmark.
Thanks for the acronym help.
Well, thanks so much.
I know.
People ask me that all the time just because it's like a standard term in like acting.
In acting, but I mean,
love those Hallmark movies.
Yeah, I mean, I get so excited when I watch the W Network. I'm like, Cory Lee! And I like post. And then also funny, like there's been times where it's like Cory Lee is in a movie and then Ish is also in a movie on like, City TV or something. And I'm like, I'm so obsessed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have a bunch
Proud
of movies.
Friend.
Yeah.
Bunch of MOWs about to come out.
Awesome.
Including my first lead, which was kind of like everything I was working up towards and obviously felt beautiful and monumental. And another day that I relive in my manifestation days when Barb called me to tell me that I got that role.
What's that movie called?
It's called Baking All the Way.
Okay.
It's going to be on Lifetime this Christmas.
Awesome.
And I have brand new Cory Lee original tune, Christmas tune in it.
Oh,
Great.
yes.
As I was talking about, that Chris Anderson, who also recorded me on Instant Star, recorded me for that and mixed it. It's,
Where was it shot?
It was shot in Hamilton. A lot of MOW shoot in Hamilton just because it's cheaper to shoot. And in COVID, the first things that kind of came back when things were greenlit again were like lower budget stuff because, crews had to be a smaller size. You
Right.
couldn't have as many actors on set. You had to obviously follow a lot more precautions. So, bigger budget, like American television actually took a little longer to like come back. Like when everything shut down initially. Now it's all back and filming was deemed essential. So like even if we were to say lock down again, like filming won't lock down.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know
Nice.
that.
Yeah. It was deemed essential when it got greenlit again in like the last week of July of 2020.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
But it still follows all the COVID rules. Like,
Yeah.
it is kind of odd because, like, they're like, we don't care if you're vaccinated anymore. Like, when you go to a restaurant or, like, but then on set, you have to, like, show all the things. You have to get tested every day. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's tighter knit.
yeah. And, like, so Ish and I really live a life of just kind of not seeing a lot of people when we're working because obviously being, like, safe is, like, the utmost.
Yeah, you can't afford like something to happen and then you're not on the
Can't
can't
go
do the
to
show.
a rave
No.
and then head to set.
I mean, you
Doesn't
could,
work.
but
Might not be the
might not be the
responsible-
wisest of
No.
decisions.
Could lead to a
So yeah,
spreader.
Yeah.
so it's weird. Like
Good.
Ish and I don't really go out like when we're working. Like
No, that's why we've got the plexi up here.
yeah, exactly.
I know I haven't seen you. We don't even live that far away.
I mean, because
Proof.
we literally live like a few blocks from each other.
Yeah.
I seen you more than probably most people in COVID though.
Yeah.
because we've hung out quite a few times.
Yeah.
So are the 5 movies all done by the same production company?
No, different production companies.
Oh, so the schedules just lined up for you.
And do they come out around the same time?
So actually, I just found out that one of the Christmas movies I shot in December in Ottawa is going to air on Hallmark in July.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
Christmas in July,
It's
I
called.
love it.
So this year, Hallmark is airing 3 new Christmas movies as part of their Christmas in July. One of them being a Christmas movie that I'm in called My Grown Up Christmas List. So My Grown Up Christmas List will air in July on Hallmark, and I'm in that lovely one. And then I'm in 2 other Christmas movies that will air this Christmas. One being Baking All the Way, and then I have an MOW called Styled with Love. That's like a rom-com that I've been told is going to air sometime very soon.
And those are supporting roles, are they called?
Yeah, so all of the other ones, I'm like a supporting lead. Usually the sassy best friend. That's kind of like what they call your hit. Like it's just a role that I do get a lot because I do feel like it's just me. Like I am.
Yeah,
kind
you
of-
are.
I am kind of like a sassy best friend. The sassy best friend is always like, of course he likes you. Like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. Like, where are you going? Oh my God, he said that. Like, screw him. Like, let's go get ice cream. These kind of words. Yeah.
It's not far away from who you are in real life.
Yeah. So the sassy best friend role is like one I've played many, many times. Obviously, it's a beautiful place
it
to
down.
be. Usually the sassy best friend is like, number 3 or 4 on the call sheet, meaning like a very large role because you help propel the story along.
Yeah.
Because the number 1 always needs like a sounding board. Like, oh, does he like me? I'm not sure. I haven't seen him in 10 years. Of course he likes you. And you should wear that red dress for your date tonight. You know what I mean? These kind of things. So it's a beautiful place, and I've done the role like many, many times. Obviously, my aspirations are, lead roles, but I'm just happy to work. I love working. It's my happy place.
Well, I don't think of you as a sassy best friend,
Okay.
actually. I think of you as a lead.
Well, she is a lead.
Yeah, she is.
Absolutely
She is
are.
a lead. But she's also a sassy best friend. It's part of my story as an actor. She's also a hooker. She is.
At work.
Numerous hookers. She's been a hooker. Ooh, and she's been a stripper.
Oh, really? Do you have any moves?
No, I mean, she can fake it real
Notes.
good. She can fake it real good.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was like.
I have a pole if you want to practice at my house.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I do.
Where?
You can put it up and take it down.
Okay, because I was like, I've been to your house many times. I don't remember a pull.
It doesn't come out very often, only special occasions.
Okay, well, one night we can have some more rosé.
Yeah, that's usually how it starts.
We
How
can
do
just
you
dance
put it
for
out?
each
Does
other.
it automatically? You just start dancing and it automatically comes out?
It actually, I had a lot of drinks and I was like, I'm going to buy a stripper pole.
Amazon?
I bought it on Amazon.
Amazon.
But no, it's got a base, so you put the base in, and then
yeah.
you screw it. It's got 3 pieces. You screw it in, and then you tighten it, and it has a big thing, and it goes to the top, and then it spins. You can totally spin on it, but you Sean always puts it up.
Yeah,
and
I was like,
you
Sean always
you go
puts it up.
It's like a shower rod, but this
way, and then you
I can picture it.
twist it, and then it kind
tell
of
ya,
goes.
I know someone who does the pole for aerobics.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Cardio?
Well, that's what I
And
do.
she's in fantastic shape.
You know, it's
It
hard to
is-
hold yourself up
Oh, I can't
because
even
I've done a
imagine.
couple
I look
classes.
at it and I think, oh no.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I can do some moves. I can go upside down. I can hold myself. But I mean, my whole body hurts. And if I do it with shoes on, the next day my legs are full of bruises because you're putting your shoes to I don't know how someone who does that as a profession does
professional.
not look. I look like I got beat up and thrown in an alley or something.
well,
It looks
a lot of them
horrible.
do look like that.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
No.
It's very hard.
It is
It's very
very
hard.
So when Sean gets angry with you, you just whip out the pole and you're like, baby.
I can't put it up myself. So no. I usually just make him a sandwich if he's not happy. Sandwiches are the way to his heart, really.
Quicker than the pole.
Quicker than.
Less dangerous. Yeah.
I mean, a good sandwich can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Yes.
really.
I feel like it can. If someone just
Absolutely.
puts a magical sandwich
Like
in front of you.
a sandwich made with love. Is
Yes, toasted with cheese.
or you put
and
it in the
things.
air fryer.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
So these supporting roles.
yeah.
How many days do you have to be on set for those?
Oh,
And what's
okay,
your
so
rider like?
MOWs usually shoot between 12 and 15 shoot days. So that's the standard.
Oh, wow, you can do a whole movie, 12 to 15.
Yeah, yeah, so-
these are hour. How long's the content? What do they want? An hour?
An hour and a half.
Oh, an hour and a half.
To air, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like an hour and a half. So when you, depending on the MOW and depending on the network, and a higher budget Hallmark will shoot for 15.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe a lower budget MOW will shoot for 12. But usually it's somewhere in between the 12 and 15 day mark. I've never shot one that's gone over 15 days of shoot days. So usually that's 3 weeks essentially, right? Because they'll shoot Monday to Friday. So depending on the script, to answer your question about how many shoot days does a supporting lead usually have, I've had it, the least amount of days on a supporting lead I've ever done was maybe 4. And then the most amount of days on a supporting lead I've done was 9.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the script, depending on how many lines, depending on how many locations that character lives in, right? Just as I was
Right.
saying, when you're, say, block shooting an episodic. So, one of the supporting leads that I shot, my character only existed in the office because she was sassy best friend / coworker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very
okay.
common archetype in the MOW world.
Yes.
But
No,
since she only existed in the office, I was there every day they shot The Office because I just got kind of always
You had to
existed
be floating around going
in
to
the office.
photocopies or
So,
something.
the 4 days they were in the office, my character was in top to bottom talking a lot. Where if your character, say, you go for dinner and then you also live with them, because a sassy best friend / roommate also exists very commonly in the MOW space. So if you're living with them, plus you're going to dinner, plus you're going to coffee,
Right.
you end
the
up
9-dayer.
that's a 9-dayer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm figuring it out.
Yeah. So
You're
it's
ready?
all
You're
it's
ready?
all
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready for your
You
role.
ready
Yeah,
for
I'm ready
your
for my
sassy
role.
best friend?
I don't know which one I want, though. Just The Office and just get the 4 days in and out, or the 9 days.
Well, because it's all
do you get paid the same?
Well, no, because you get per day.
Oh, so you kind of want the
You want more days on set.
I want more than just the office.
But here's the thing. If you're in, say the one where I did the 4 days in the office, I was in every scene all 4 days. So I did like 4 very long days. And obviously you make overtime after 8 hours, where say I do 9 days, I'm not in 12 hours every day.
Right.
So like there's a possibility that they could have equated to about the same. Like if I'm only doing 9 8-hour days.
Oh, those are good questions.
Right?
I guess I can't really. It's not standard for me to start asking those types of questions.
You can ask. I'm here.
Oh, no, not you. I mean, when I get my fictitious role. Yeah.
Got it.
When
you can
you're
just
the-
text me.
You think
The love
when you're
interest in the hometown, the hometown love interest.
No, you're cast.
I mean, a lot of
you're cast as the the sassy best friend coworker,
Yes.
and roommate. You're like, you sure you want him to be the roommate too? You wouldn't just rather like a lot of coworker scenes, overtime coworker scenes, and forget the roommate. I take the 4 days.
In terms of like acting, like it's very different when you say have 4 crazy days and then like 9 casual days. Casual in the sense where you're not in every scene all 9 days, because when you're in every scene like 4 days in a row, like your brain kind of gets overloaded sometimes.
Yeah,
when
I
you're,
bet.
when you're like talking a lot of random spiels. But when you're like spread out between the 9 days because you exist in like various locations, your brain actually ends up getting like a day off, and then you're like, okay, well then I can learn those lines tomorrow because I'm not in tomorrow, like the next day in like 6 scenes.
Okay.
So there's pros and cons.
So I want the 9 days.
I mean, maybe not. I mean, I enjoy a crazy
You take
4
what you can
days
get.
as well.
Yeah, from the sounds, you take what you can get.
Take what you can get.
Honestly, it's pros and cons. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to just get it over with, and then you can like, because when I'm in a gig, it's like my brain can really only like focus on that gig. It's hard to like focus on self tapes, because that's the other thing. Like the self tape world is crazy, and like it doesn't stop when you're working. That's
The self-tape.
Yeah, so I noticed Cory does a lot of self tapes. I would help. So
What's a
explain what a self tape.
yes. So
I used to help you with your self
because
tapes.
when Ish is away, she helps me with my self tapes.
Sometimes, you
And
explain
you
it.
even got me. I booked one of my first self tapes that you helped me with. Anyway.
Yeah, she'll explain what it is.
I'll even I can even say the movie because it's aired already.
Okay.
Okay, so a self taped is a
Case.
a self taped audition. So in COVID, since you weren't like before, we would go into the room, right? We would like go to the casting place. We would wait, like seeing all the other actors, and then you would like go into the room and you would like do the scene a few times as the casting director. So in COVID, since like they didn't want to see anyone in real life, everything turned into a self taped audition. So
you record it at home with your own camera.
Yeah.
And they send you the lines, and then you read them. And then sometimes you have a dialogue with someone else. So someone is talking off screen. So that's what I would do to help. She'd send me the lines ahead of time, and then I would be the person who was talking off camera, and then she would be the one on camera, like, yes, we need to go get coffee. And I'd be like, no problem. Like, yeah.
I can actually send you that self tape because I booked it and the movie's aired. Because the thing is, you can't show any footage if the movie hasn't aired, but the movie's aired.
Wow.
It ended up going
They didn't
Lifetime.
come knocking on your door, Casey?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still waiting.
You're a great reader because she's just so happy and positive, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
so it's like you
Every
were.
day.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Well, and for a long time, I had like a 9-foot
Backdrop.
seamless black backdrop paper just set up in my living
She
room.
literally had a self tape setup.
I
Like,
just,
set
my
up.
house has
For
like.
the poll.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of interesting things. My house is a
put up
playground,
a
okay? But I had the studio set up, so she would just come over and be like, "Hey, I got a self tape. You around? Yep. Okay, bye."
Well, that's what's so great too. Like usually, like I'm blessed because I have Ish. I'm married to another actor, so like our self tape game is strong. You know, we have a fabulous backdrop. We've got like 3 different ring lights depending on like what the lighting is outside, and like we just have it down. You know what I mean? Like we're also very good readers for each other because I know what Ish needs. Ish knows what I need. So when he goes away, I'm always like, "What do I do now?" But she's honestly like. She's like a 10-minute walk. She has a self-tape setup, and I genuinely love her, and I know she like wants the best for me, which is like all the right things for a reader that in a self-tape. So in COVID, everything turned to self-tape auditions. Pros and cons, obviously, because you know you get sent so many more in COVID.
Right.
Because
they don't have to have you there.
that's the thing. Casting directors had to sit and watch, 20 actors do the same scene.
Right. It's quite convenient for a casting
Well,
director.
that's the
COVID's
thing.
been great for a
So
casting
A,
if you think about it.
the casting director can ask more people. B, the casting director can give you more lines because they don't have to sit there and watch.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest negative is, since, I'm blessed and I've worked and I've taken a lot of training, like to go into the room and for a casting director to be like, okay, do it again, but this time, and then say, give you a very specific redirect.
Yeah.
I am confident in my
can excel
abilities.
in that.
I can excel in that. I can literally be like, let's do that. Let me give you that. But in COVID, you just get your little breakdown.
Right.
And sometimes it's just like, is a doctor at the clinic.
Right.
You literally have no real concept of what they're looking for. So you just kind of have to choose a direction
Right.
and put it out there. You're only supposed to send one take.
Right. Without the benefit of them being able to say, tweak this, you giving them that, and then being like, okay, that worked. That was it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pros and cons. A, I get a lot more. B, you get a lot more lines. And again, I'm blessed because, I'm at a certain point. I'm not going for one-liners, So I'm not getting tiny auditions. I'm getting 6, 7, 8 pages. And what I think a lot of casting directors don't always take into account is that that's not just the one audition I have. A lot of times I'm getting 2 or 3 in a day. So, it feels very overwhelming when you have to learn, 15, 16 pages.
Wow.
Right? And you have to be off book because you have to
Yeah, you can't
tape.
be.
You can't be staring at a page.
Right.
So
or saying it consciously from memory.
Well,
You got to
that's the
sort
thing,
of let it sink in, and you got to really know it.
unless you're I don't know, an insecure character that's coming up with the idea at the time where you
Right.
can maybe be finding the lines and you know what I mean? Say you're a lawyer, which I'd go for a lot. You've got to talk with conviction. Well, what about Article 1256? You know what I mean? You can't be
Article.
What was that again?
or if you're a doctor, which again, they love them an Asian doctor. So they're like, 30 cc's of the metabolic, and you're like, I have to be Googling these things. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what this medicine is. But you got to talk with conviction. And if you have to know the lines in that sense.
So what is your process for memorization?
Oh, man. I've even, taken classes on this because it's a wild, wild west out there. I personally like the add-on method, and I'll explain it.
Please.
Yeah.
So the add-on method is, when I get a script, so I'll look at the first line. So say my first line is, hey, how you doing? So then I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Then I'll add on. So maybe the next line after the other character has said something is, oh, on Monday I'm going to the doctor's office. So then I'm like, okay, on Monday I'm going to the doctor's office. On Monday I'm going to the doctor's office. Then I go back to start from the beginning.
Hey, how you doing?
Add on.
On Monday,
Hey, how
I'm
you
going to the
doing?
doctor.
On Monday, I'm going to the doctor's office.
But you just remembered that. So
Yeah.
it does work. So then
This is good for us.
I keep going. And obviously at some point, if it's say a 6-page scene, you start losing your way. So then I just start from the beginning again. And what I always say too, your brain is only at max capacity for say 20 or 30 minutes. So do your 20, 30 minutes, take a break.
Get out.
Come back in an hour. Because remember when you were cramming for a test? And if you just crammed one night, there was only certain information your brain would retain. But if you crammed for 4 nights in a row, you would remember that much more because your brain needs breaks.
Yeah.
You can't just do one crammer and think you'll know everything. So that's why you do a strategic 20 or 30 minutes, leave it for an hour, come back. So then to go back to the add-on method. So once I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of, say, the first scene, what you do, and this is the real clutch moment, you record the other lines on your phone. So
The lines you're not saying.
So you
sort of like the cue lines.
You record the lines of the other character.
Of the other
so
character.
Here,
Yeah.
Like,
you're
I bet
recording
you-
Okay. So the lines to help you cue it up.
so basically you can just start running them.
Yes. Okay.
So then,
Right.
so you leave a space. So the hey, how you doing? So I'll do 1, 2, 3, just so I know I
Yep.
have the first line. Leave the space for, hey, how you doing? Then I'll say oh, I'm doing great. Say this is the other person's lines. Oh, I'm doing great. Wait, what are we doing again tomorrow? Leave the space.
On Monday,
Oh,
I'm going to the doctor's office.
Exactly. So then you can pound the lines over and over again with yourself, because that's when it really commits to memory. And that's also when you've moved on to that next step, is because acting isn't just knowing the lines. I mean, obviously it's an important step to the scene, but you have to be ever present when the other person's speaking the lines. So then when you're running the scene in its entirety is when you start working out the beats of, because maybe I fucking hate you as the other character, and so you're like, oh, I'm good, but like, what are you doing tomorrow? So maybe
Monday,
like,
I'm going to the fucking doctor.
So then like maybe I have a beat in my head, like, why is he talking? You know what I mean? I don't say it out loud, but like I work out the beats my character would be thinking, or I say active listening, or I mean, there's so much into a scene I could start breaking down, but for me, this is what works the best, and I know Ish is very similar, so I'll do the add-on method till I have a pretty good grasp of the scene, and then I'll move to the voice note method, essentially. And then you literally just have to pound it and pound it and pound it. Like,
right. You're listening, at that point, you're listening to the other character's lines. You've already gone through the process of like layering all of your lines on top of each other and understanding it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And then you're really just doing the scene.
Yeah, exactly. You're literally just rehearsing the scene. You're rehearsing the flow, maybe. And like actors get booked all the time, not on the lines they're saying, but how they're reacting and the moments you're putting in between the lines.
Mm-hmm. So at some point, as it seeps in,
yes,
it starts to feel less like you're saying a line and more like you're reacting in the moment.
Exactly.
You're like the character.
Exactly. And the more you have the line second nature, because it is like once you start running the scene with yourself over and over and over and over and over and taking those breaks and then coming back and, you know, everything, like it does become second nature and it does feel more natural. And that's key, like to just look like that's just who you are. That's just the lines you're saying. You're not like thinking about it. Because you can see on an actor's face when they're thinking about the lines.
Right.
And they're not ever present.
Or a singer.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's...
Like my favorite place is to have a set of lines for at least 2 sleeps. Mm-hmm. Because the first night, I find I'm really just dedicating to really getting in the lines, and I don't have as much time as to prepare the scene. I mean, obviously, I've done a lot of self-tapes due next day, but I can really have them committed a lot better when I have 2 nights, because then by the time I'm rehearsing it the second day, you're really working out those like smaller beats and moments of like how I would feel in the scene, like what is my relationship
the character. You're more consciously able to focus on the character and less the line.
Yeah, and again, this is my method. I mean,
it sounds like a fantastic
it
method.
sounds like a good method.
Lots of actors do this method and have their own, and it's really whatever works for you, just like with life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
as long as it works.
I know some actors that literally write out the lines, because writing does commit things better to memory. So like sometimes they'll just, instead of like looking at the page, they'll literally just write their lines out because it commits to memory. Some acting teachers say to like scream the lines, because when you're you're screaming, it actually does commit it
sinks right in.
Yeah.
Keep your wife's name
out my mouth. Exactly. So like there's just lots of different things. Tony Robbins says that like when you have more oxygen to the brain, you remember things more. Yeah. He like jumps on the trampoline. Yeah, so like I used to run and learn lines at one point. And it does actually, I really like it.
Yeah.
But you don't have the luxury, obviously, of like going for a run and like learning lines every time. But I do enjoy it. So, yeah.
Are you working on any music now?
So, I know we talked about this briefly when I walked in. So, one of my next steps, I feel, in my creative life is writing, like scripted television. Cool. It's definitely something that has been calling my name. I've started writing some MOWs just because it's a world that I'm very familiar with.
Wow.
And I have a bunch of ideas that I feel like are in that safe realm for an MOW, but still a little unique. Mm-hmm. My first MOW that I'm writing is a musical. So I've been very much in the throes of finishing those songs. So that's kind of like where my head has been at the last couple months.
And when you start those ideas, I guess you don't start with the dialogue. You start with a general synopsis.
Exactly. That's what I did. I definitely started with like kind of like a general idea, and then I started breaking it down more and more and more and more.
And so when do you start defining your characters? You write this.
I mean,
How'd you do that?
I started defining the lead 2 characters from the get-go, just because they, like in an MOW, it's really all about the kind of like main 2 or 3 or 4 leads that propel the story along. And then there's kind of these, I find them usually like quirky archetypes, you know, like the sassy best friend is like,
or like the woman in the store, or like
or like the bitchy boss. Like there's just certain archetypes that just like work in a lot of different movies. You know, there's certain ideas that just kind of make sense, that people gravitate to, that they like. So I kind of had the archetype type kind of characters that I wanted to like bring to the story. And then I just expanded. I actually ended up reading a bunch of books too, just because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
I read Screenwriting for Dummies, which I actually really liked.
Yeah, I bet it's great.
Yeah.
A lot of those for dummies are
because they break
great.
it down. And it's like, I don't claim to be an expert, but I want to gain some knowledge. So I read that. And then I also read, I feel like it was called like Screenwriting Bible or something. And it was also very, very good, because it's true. Like certain movies follow similar plot points. You know what I mean? Like usually at the end of an MOW, the lead has lost everything. Literally. Like, I lost the guy and my mom's mad at me.
There's a point in which there's a pit of the hole. There's
everything
bottom.
has come crumbling down.
Yes.
And then literally the end last kind of chapter
Quarter.
is them getting the guy again, not realizing they could do it a different way, and now everything could work out.
Yeah.
Usually
that's my favorite part. That's why I watch them. I love that.
It's usually a fish out
style.
of water beginning of an MOW. Either the lead has to go back to the small town, or the small town girl has to go to the main city. Like it's usually something
it's
where
a fish out of water beginning.
It's usually a fish out of water beginning.
Yeah.
Usually they're trying to make something happen the way they think it should happen. And usually when you realize the ending, they've gotten everything they wanted, but in a different way. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So there's certain like
sort of like a finding your stride, but there's a piece there that's gonna crumble you right down to the bottom again.
Yeah, usually they have to show some sort of vulnerability. Usually there's a crying scene.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to work out. I really thought this was it. You know what I mean? Like these types of words. I thought I was going to save Christmas.
Yeah, like when the tree's not showing up and they can't get the tree, or they have to cut down the family tree, and then somebody,
And then in the final hour, the tree shows up and it's more beautiful than they thought.
It's bigger and everyone,
Are you writing exclusively Christmas stuff?
No. But I've been in a lot of Christmas movies. So.
Yeah, a lot.
And I love Christmas. I do.
Yeah.
I love being in them because I love them myself. You know what I mean? Like, I know some actors don't like to do MOWs, and I'm always like, why?
Yeah.
They're so fun and light and like...
Yeah, I like light movies.
They're just like, people like them because my mom calls them romance novels.
Yeah.
It's like women like romance novels because they know it's going to end a certain way. Usually there's some sort of triumphant ending of an MOW.
Yes,
there's
I
usually
am those
love
women.
of some kind. Whether it's self-love or a couple love or, there's usually some sort of...
And for the music, are you starting at a piano? What do you...
So, yes. In terms of the musical that I'm writing, yeah. So... Piano was my first instrument, and I actually recently went and bought a used keyboard to like reacquaint myself. Because there's just certain musical theater type songs that I really love, and it was more about figuring out what those chord progressions were.
Yeah.
I mean, since you do music, you can understand this. And actually, the last 2 months I've been feeling really kind of like numb and uninspired about writing. So again, just because I dive into my manifesting and my self-help people, I love Gabrielle Bernstein. I'm like, you know this. Like, she's like, I love her so much. She makes me so happy. And she always talks about like to get inspired, to get creative, you just need to do it. And again, it's true. Like, if I like sit down and listen to an album I love, it does make me feel inspired. So for the last like month, I've been just like listening to a lot of musicals that I really loved when I first just started my career. like, Les Mis and Jesus Christ Superstar.
My favorite is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor
That was my
Dreamcoat.
first professional musical.
Oh,
with
God,
Donny
I love
Osmond.
That's my favorite musical of all time.
I was in that.
I know every song.
I was in that. That was my
Joseph?
first professional musical.
Wow.
I don't even know much about like what Joseph is about. Like I didn't grow up but I love the musical.
Yeah.
Every song. Me and my sister, we would just sing.
It was a lot of
There's
cast.
just something about that coat.
It was very colorful.
I won't sing while Cory's here.
It was
but,
his colorful
after.
dream coat.
We'll do a number.
Episode, yeah, he'll do a number.
I'll do a number.
Oh my God, I would die.
I'm
if
putting
you
it on
sang
after
me,
this.
Joseph.
Go, 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 Joseph.
Go, 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 Joseph. You know what they say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. So good.
But yeah, revisiting things that like once inspired you does re-inspire
Yes.
you. It's like it's factual.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So I've been revisiting musicals that I really loved. And again, to go back to my like Asian stereotype roles, when I first started singing professionally and I was like 10, literally one of my first singing teachers told me the only lead role that I'd be able to do was Miss Saigon, because that was the only lead Asian role in a musical at that time. This is true. These are facts. Like now people are like, what? Like, what are you talking about? There's Asians in so many musicals. But no.
It wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that. So I went home and I learned every word to Miss Saigon, thinking it was my only lead, because I knew I was going to be a lead. She was confident in her abilities. So I literally went home. I learned every word. I still know every word just because
I bet.
it was ingrained in my brain. So Miss Saigon is another one that really inspires me, just because I had so many feelings about it when I was so young, and I really thought I was going to do it on Broadway. Like I really thought that was like my only road to a lead. So yeah, revisiting all the musicals that once really just like lit a fire in my soul in the last month has been nice. I discovered one new musical, Six. It's new. It's like literally just came to Broadway like in the last 2 years, about the 6 wives of I think it's Henry VIII. But again,
Oh, wow. That'd
like
be,
a rock pop, like a rock pop musical.
He killed them all pretty well.
It's just the music is beautiful.
I think one of them got out of there alive. But yeah.
The music is awesome because they're all like very like diva-esque singers.
That's not for me. No, just kidding. Yeah, no.
I want to go to New York and see it because it really like inspires me. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I've been singing on my Insta stories a lot lately just because I've been singing the songs that inspired me. Because again, usually after I've like sung for like half an hour, I usually can write.
Yeah.
After, because I'm like in that just like mind frame. So yeah, I've been singing all these like musical theater songs.
I love it.
And I've been really enjoying it.
So we have a lot to look forward to with you. Okay, we've got 5 movies.
Yeah.
And your musical.
It's happening, baby. Like I literally can see it in my head. I really can, because the most expensive part of doing a musical MOW is the music, but I can do it all myself. That's the thing. I'm writing all the music.
Yeah.
Isha's producing all of it. Like we can make it happen, like literally in our home studio, as we talked about. Like so many like awesomely talented like teenage kids from the middle of nowhere are just putting out bangers because no, I'm serious, because they can, because they have the programs, they can do it all at home. So that's my big thing. When I pitch the movie, the songs will be done.
Yeah.
And I'll be open to changing them, but like I know 100% in my heart that will be the biggest green light. Oh shit, the music's done already?
Yeah.
Like
how many songs for
the musical?
Yeah.
So it's funny. So when I first wrote the musical, I went and watched literally like 20 musical movies to be like, how many songs are in a musical movie? Because literally I wrote that down. I need to find out. It ranges. It can be like 4 or 5, or it could be like 15.
Or they're talking the whole time.
Well, that's the thing. So usually in a musical movie,
talking.
Really?
No, I'm serious. In a musical movie, it's either are the songs coming from the person's head, or are they actually performing songs?
Right.
Like when you think of like a Sister Act 2, which is like one of the biggest musical movie inspirations of my life, every song they sing is a performance. It's not like coming from their head.
Right.
So
like well, it's not a movie, so it's not a good example. But I mean, Wizard of Oz would be more like that, though, too.
Well, when you think of like even like a Moulin Rouge is an interesting one because it's both. Mm-hmm. It comes from the head and their performing.
Yeah, like when he's going on the rooftops.
That's all like in his quote unquote head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when you think of like Greatest Showman, which is what I would say is the best newer movie musical in the last few years, because I think it was very, very well done. It's a combination of actual performance and songs that are coming from the characters' minds. So again, things I didn't ever think about as I watched all these 20 musicals, being like, okay, so like, what do I want to see? What do I enjoy watching?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I enjoy both.
Yeah,
I think
I like both too.
I think I enjoy when like there is some sort of element of them performing, and when they're just thinking of songs, like it's just like an inner dialogue in their head, or like what they're imagining someone is talking about, but they're really just singing it to them.
Yeah.
Again, so many things when you start diving in.
I can say pretty confidently, between Talia and I, we'll probably watch all 5 of those movies. Talia will love every single one of those movies.
I love Talia.
Yeah, she those movies are right up her alley.
Yeah.
She is that
Mine
type
too.
of movie gal.
Yeah.
You can't show her anything that's remotely scary.
No.
I don't like
or
scary movies
upsetting
either.
or anything like that.
I don't like scary movies either. Do you like scary movies?
I watch a lot of murder shows.
Yeah,
No, I like
Casey's
murder
more on
documentaries.
that spectrum than like Talia couldn't watch that.
No, but
I
I mean,
She
but I don't like
I don't
blood
like a
and
jump
guts.
scare. I don't like bloody, but I mean, I like to watch a good serial killer murder.
I love a documentary, like a Netflix documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, don't fuck
like
with cats. Did you watch that one?
No, but I like documentaries too.
Oh my
but
god,
don't
it's
fuck
one
with
of the best. I'd say
should watch it.
Netflix. It's so good. No, it's all these.
I don't.
No.
I don't fuck with cats.
Well, I don't want to say
But I will
anything and
watch
ruin.
it.
It's honestly a very.
It's good.
One of my
Good.
employees has a cat though.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Kid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so funny.
I'll watch it.
It's really good. I highly recommend it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank
was
you for coming.
Incredible
So
to catch up and learn so much more about you. It's
I know we
wonderful.
haven't actually ever had like long conversation. I mean, you know everything
All
about me.
been
Yeah.
brief.
Well.
But the brief moments have been very fun.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I try and bring light with me everywhere I go.
You certainly do.
I do. I try.
100%.
The world is shitty enough.
Yeah.
Let's be the light.
Yeah. That's a beautiful place to end off. Thank you. It's
Thank
true.
you.
And you always have. And I've always felt that from you. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode with Cory Lee. Follow her at Cory Lee Music on Instagram.
And check out more episodes of Cast of Creators on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, or visit castofcreators.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.